Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 370. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Robero,
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
and Brian Manjoma.
Can someone pick up the phone, please? Because I called it.
Uh-oh. What
Yo,
you
man,
calling? What you calling,
I
Ray?
give you credit.
All right. Are we gonna talk about
The
that?
Bungies.
By the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did.
Oh yeah.
No,
Ver-
yeah.
and,
full
you know-
credit, full credit, Brian. Full
Yeah,
credit.
full credit. Especially in light of what I said, I'm like, that shit ain't happening. But I'm not gonna eat as much crow as another story, that we're gonna talk about tonight, where I had to eat heaping helpings of crow. Anyway, yes, Throwdown is back. You already know. No Adam action tonight. If Adam's tired, you know he's tired.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's some real shit. And Brett, he said, "Oh, I'll be 25 minutes late." I'm like, how is that different than any other time? Like, you're always late, bruh. That's why we call you Brett of the Wild, man.
He is the bread of the wild.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not even gonna waste time. You already know. There's just another week, another one. Like, how many of
Yo,
these?
man.
Yeah.
Megaton week again.
Thankfully, this one didn't happen right when I woke up.
Nah.
I was like, the day had already started. Actually, that day was interesting because, like, there was some other stuff going on within gaming. Where, like, people were talking about the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7, right?
Yeah.
Talking about that. And there was some other thing going on, and then this news dropped, destroyed everything, right? And Brian called it. Brian called it.
Good.
Sony bought Bungie, man, for $3.6 billion. Megaton news, man. And
Instantly making our show, the throw down your questions we did that the day before, instantly moot.
instantly, yeah, because one of the questions we got was, what studio will, as you know, one of the questions, I don't know what the question was, but it was related to Bungie and whatever. And I was like, I'm like, that ain't happening,
Yeah,
And-
we're both like that.
Yeah, we were like, nope, that ain't happening, and it happened. Like, we are living in a very strange timeline. But yeah, we're gonna get into the specifics of it. But, like, one of the main reasons that Sony decided to pursue, but besides the fact that they had a pretty good relationship with them to begin with, right, is the fact that they really want to bolster, take it how you will, their live service games, right? And they feel that Bungie has the expertise in this field to make that happen. And it's true, Destiny, one of the few live service games that's actually successful, right? Most of them, as we'll discuss later, flounder, So, Brian, we'll go with you first since you called this, man. What you think when the news dropped?
My first thought was, that's funny. Second thought was, this is exactly what I expected, because it makes the most sense. Because if you're going to bolster your ranks around a particular idea, which is like live service, online gaming stuff, you get a company that is good with that. That's proven that, hey, they've done well with that, and they've been strong. And the only company I could think of that was still independent and had that pedigree was Bungie. Again, they are the Halo guys. Like, they pretty much put Xbox on the map, So it just made total sense. So I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected. But then I read into it, and it just seemed to be like, ooh, this is not how I expected it. Like, as soon as I heard them talk about live service games like 16 times, I'm like, okay, that's highly concerning.
Brian was that Matrix gif is like, not like this.
Yeah,
Not like
But at the same time, were you surprised, though?
I wasn't surprised. 'Cause again, I said that they should because it just fits well with.
I'm
what they're
talking
trying
about
to do.
the live service angle. Were you really surprised, though?
I actually was surprised because, again, I'm not a big fan of live service games, so hence I was like, okay, they're going to make some more player stuff. So maybe like a new IP or revive an old IP, but not going down the live service route because it's just, again, as Tony you've said, there's been so many live service games that have just fallen off the face of the earth and no one's cared about them. So that's concerning.
Yeah, and the plan is, this came out after the news that Sony plans to make 10 live service games between now and 2026. So that's not that many years. So it's like what, 2 or 3 games or something per year, some shit like that. Like what?
Yeah, if it's 1026, then most of them should be announced within. I mean, Sony's track record, they probably should be announced now.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh, there's Brett. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Talking about Sony buying Bungie, which is pretty crazy.
Good. I was hoping I would catch this one.
Yeah, lead topic you right now. But no, we were just talking about how Sony is trying to do this push for more live service games, and it's like there's an entire graveyard filled with these games. I'll name a couple of them. I talked about this on Twitter. Crucible, right? Hey, this game was so successful, they canceled it after it was released. Think about that. Anthem, Metal Gear Survive, Lawbreakers, Bleeding Edge. These are just a few. These games mostly fail. Destiny and Division are like 2 of the few I could think of. Obviously, Fortnite is another one, the big one, which is what Sony's chasing after here. But most of these, yeah, Apex Legends. But most of these games bomb, So them trying to make 10 games of this caliber in the next, was it 4 years, right? 5 or whatever fucking years. I'm like, so you're literally, it just seems to me you're throwing shit at a wall, seeing what sticks. Because they're probably like, hey, listen, if one of these is Fortnite, we're good, But it just seems
Wait, they're
really.
putting 10 out at 10 live service games in the next 4 years?
That's what they said. 10 live service games between now and 2026. That's their goal.
And then that's March 2026,
Yes.
not the end of it, which is pretty much in exactly 4 years' time.
So again, I'm like, how many is going to be successful given the graveyard of these games?
I mean,
Yeah.
well, to put that in perspective, a little bit, they're trying to turn about every game into a live service game. So, maybe they're just saying we're having 10 games come out the next 4 years. We're trying live service in all of them.
I don't know.
I have a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Because it just came to me like right now. Do you think that one of those 10 is Last of Us multiplayer?
Oh, it's actually a good question because I think Factions is going to be a separate game. I don't think it's going to be part of Last of Us 2. To be honest, I think it's going to be its own thing.
There's a lot of theories that they think they're gonna hand them Killzone, like Guerrilla's focused.
Maybe,
Horizon
right?
and other stuff. Yeah, but Brian, you were right about this. So anything goes now. Anything they could try to monetize the shit out of Last of Us multiplayer and have them take it over.
Manny, right? No Rules Pasta. Oh, he's talking to his cat right now. So
No rules pasta,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
He's telling his cat how there's no rules pasta.
Well, none for you, cat.
yeah, anything goes now, But it's crazy. You go ahead.
I was definitely not surprised by these news. When I remember when we were talking about it during our what should Sony do next, it was like, well, they obviously can't buy a publisher like Microsoft can because they just don't have the funds.
Yeah.
They should go towards and solidify one of their weaknesses. Actually, specifically a weakness that could help severely a service like a Game Pass or like a Spartacus, whatever that code name is for the Sony one.
Yeah, Spartacus. Yeah.
And I remember when Brian said it, when it said Bungie, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That should be it. Yeah, I was like, that's why I didn't. I'm like, oh, I can see that. I'm like, I can't wait for that to happen so I can take out the popcorn and check out Twitter. And that's exactly what happened. People lost their minds, and it's actually, I think it's a good acquisition because these, live service or whatever, just a studio that can do a multiplayer game, a first-person shooting multiplayer game, it's just a big asset for Sony because that they were sorely lacking that. And it's okay.
No, really important. I was gonna go like Bungie's like getting passed around all these publishers. I was like, is there a term for thirds? I know there's sloppy seconds. What's the term? Yeah.
That's the irony in this whole thing. I mean, Bungie left Microsoft because they're like, oh, we want to be independent. They ran into Activision's labs like pretty soon. That's the next game they released was Destiny right after that.
Yeah. Yep.
Then they left Activision.
Then they bought their independence from Activision. Like, here's my question: are they going to be in a situation to buy their independence again, or is this like for sure they're done for this time? They know now.
Well, apparently Sony said, they're going to let them do what they're going to keep doing. As a matter of fact, they even said the game's not going to be locked down. They're going to still keep coming to other consoles. That's what they say. But
they're going to operate.
Yeah,
they're going to operate independently, but they're still owned by the big Sony.
So, yeah, and let's be fair and consistent. I'm sure it'll come out on all platforms. It doesn't mean they're not going to have exclusive content or timed content, or there's going to be a difference. You're not going to get the same thing on both sides. We said that for Xbox. I'm saying it for Sony. It's the same thing. Here's my question to people. Like, number one, have we gotten into wild ass conjecture yet? Because let me know when we get there. But number two, do you guys think they got a good deal? I mean, I almost feel like a little bit like they overpaid.
Yeah,
it's fantastic optics, but dude, the price they paid for one studio was
well.
Ridiculous.
Here's the thing. I think I'm just gonna say this. I think Sony wants to leverage Destiny's IP for media also. I think they want to make movies.
Yeah.
Shows.
Oh yeah, I got that impression too.
That's why I think that price tag is so high, because they're like, no, we're gonna squeeze this thing. We're just like throw out an Uncharted movie. Now that they got Destiny, throw out the Destiny movie, right? They're gonna make counter moves to what Microsoft's doing. Look at the Halo show. So they're just gonna be like, oh, we'll do that too, but we can do one better. We'll do a movie.
Yeah, by the way, just to put things into perspective here, right? So they paid, what was it, $3.6 billion, right? For one developer, right? That's roughly, not exactly, but roughly half of what Microsoft paid for Bethesda, which is all of these developers,
But to be precise, it's 2.4 billion for the studio. They're buying the extra 3.6
for the employees.
Like 1.2 are for the employees.
Yeah, employee retention. Yeah. So, but at the same time, it's just they paid almost half of what Microsoft paid for a bunch of different developers.
And just because I want to hear the number, how much did Disney pay for Marvel again?
Marvel.
I think it was 7 billion.
Yeah.
And it was 4 billion for LucasArts. I mean Lucasfilm, all of Lucas, right? Yeah, Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
Yeah, but that was 10 years ago. I mean, inflation has gone up fucking haywire. So.
Sure, but they're $1 billion off from what all of Lucas's franchises are worth for just Bungie.
The fuck just happened? Hold on.
Oh,
I don't know if we were. I think we were muted for a little bit. All right, I think we're back now. I don't know.
Okay.
Basically, I was just saying, just to repeat, the optics just look weird. Where you have Microsoft that paid $7. Can I get the exact number, please? 7 point something billion.
Oh, for Marvel?
No, for Bethesda. How much did they buy?
Oh,
Look it up.
Yeah.
7.5.
Okay, so Microsoft paid $7.5 billion, right, for Bethesda, all these studios, and Sony paid $3.6 billion for one studio, right? So it looks weird, you know what I'm saying? But I think Sony's just like, okay, this is one of the most successful guys in this field, live service games, right? Destiny kind of kicked this things off in some ways. Everybody trying to be the next Destiny, right? I remember when the first Destiny came out, that shit was crack. Everybody was playing. People were like, I don't know why I'm playing this, but I'm playing this, And right now, you saw the player count for the pre-orders, I should say, for the new DLC, which is a million
The
people.
Witch Queen.
Yeah, it's like holy shit. So Sony really believes that this studio can bring them. They can fill that glaring hole that is their multiplayer games. You know what I'm saying? So I guess to Sony it is valuable, but I could see why people be like, wait, you guys pay too much. But I don't want to say yeah. No, I mean it isn't, I guess, but I don't want to just say they got ripped off as some people are saying. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no, but I think the important thing that we could probably say here is that it's not necessarily worth it for just the video game franchise, and that this maybe belays some bigger moves in the media front. And I don't think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Because if you just look at it as just like you just bought a studio for this much money, that's a lot. But if you're trying to branch it out to movies and TV shows or whatever, then yeah, it seems about fair.
It also, I like to think about it in two different ways. Like, for example, if I was Sony and Microsoft, looking at Bungie and looking at ZeniMax, obviously I would purchase ZeniMax over Bungie just because personally I prefer sort of the games that they make well over Destiny or the potential of getting Marathon again. But I think looking at it from a business perspective, a studio like Bungie, just the money that they make from Destiny, I feel like the margins are so much higher because they make fucking ham and fist of money just over that same freaking game.
Hand over fist, by the way. That's the.
Oh, what did I say?
You said ham over fist.
Oh, hand over fist.
Yeah, hand.
I like ham.
They make money hand over. They make money hand over fist is the correct.
You're going ham.
Yeah.
Because think about it, I'm pretty. Obviously, this is just speculative because I don't know the actual facts. So I'm just gonna throw something out there. I'm pretty sure Destiny 1 has made more money than all of Doom, all of Wolfenstein, all of Fallout combined.
Probably.
Well, yeah, it's one of the most fucking litigious exploitive video games out there, which I think is fucking funny. And I will just say my shit piece one time. Yeah, it makes sense. Sony got them.
Oh, I get it.
But that being said, I do want to bring this up, and maybe I'm just in this wild conjecture, but like I personally feel like a little bit of this price tag came because the studio wasn't necessarily shopping around for buyers. It was one of those where Sony came in, put down the right amount, and got them to be like, yeah, okay, sure. And I think that they honestly did that a little bit because of response to the Xbox acquisition. Not the Activision one, the Bethesda one.
I was about to say, to get the right one.
No.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of people saying like, oh, this is in response to Microsoft pulling their moves. I'm like, yeah, but this is response to what Microsoft did last year, right? Like, if you look at the timetables, yeah, okay, so they wanted to start this they started this about 7 months ago, supposedly. So that kind of tracks. That was enough time for the Microsoft acquisition to hit, make some waves, and then Sony to turn those gears and start up a response. Like we said, this shit takes a while. Yeah. That being said, I don't think that Sony approached the marketplace with a lot of, fucking fire sales going on. I think Microsoft has kind of honestly scooped up a lot of the people that were super publicly available, and Sony had to flash some money in order to get somebody to come up off their studio. So I think that's at least where part of that price tag came from was, convenience.
Yeah, could be.
And also not to mention that these studios are going and selling like hotcakes at these days now. So, the next studio up is probably going to sell at a better price than it would have if it would have been the first one.
Yeah, like, yo, man, sure Bungie sold for this much. Why don't we get this much instead? You already know that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, someone like, ZeniMax, if they were to sell today after the Activision, after Bungie, they'd probably sell more than $7.5 billion.
Probably, yeah.
Because, they got to set the market before, we can do comparative analysis.
It's basic supply and demand, man. There's less supply for game companies who are willing to be bought up. Price goes up.
And when that Fallout movie coming out?
Yeah, right.
I thought it was a show.
Was it
a show?
Yeah, I thought it was a long form TV show, and I thought they were actually in production now.
No, it's the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before, but would be cool. Actually, would be interested in a Fallout live action kind of thing.
By the way, Carlos, since you brought it up in the comment in the show notes here, they paid 1.2 billion just to retain Bungie employees.
Yeah, think about that for a second. So Bungie was willing to negotiate to 2.4 billion. If that was the end of the deal, like they'd still acquire the studio.
Yeah,
but was important enough, like the core of Bungie, the talent is so important.
That's right.
They added more on top of that so that no one leaves.
very
That's how important it is.
interesting. Yeah,
Whereas Microsoft could wipe out. I'm sure they're going to go into fucking from the top of Activision, top of Blizzard. They're just going to go in here and go, get the fuck out. Get most of you guys get out and just like start retooling and adjusting teams and probably bring in fresh talent or whatever. But a lot of Activision needs to get cleaned up, right?
yeah.
So
It's
there
like
was not
reverse Oprah. You don't have a job, and you don't have a job.
And it should all start with Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, just start at the top of the building and work your way down.
pretty much. Yeah, we talked about that in the last show. It's like, when Microsoft bought Bethesda, it's like, all right, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We're not going to fuck around. With Activision, they're just going to scorch earth. Like, all right, this all needs to be built from the ground up. This is all fucked up, So, two different cases. And again, like we said, with Activision, it wasn't like Microsoft's like, we want to buy... Actually, here's the thing. Microsoft did try to buy Activision before, and Activision's like, nah. But this time it was Activision going, please, can you buy us? Microsoft wasn't...
Sony.
Yeah, and Microsoft wasn't going to be like, no. They're like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Microsoft's just sitting there
please
going,
make us
well.
Yeah, exactly.
Please make us profitable again, because this garbage that's going on, it's taking all away of all of our money.
Yeah.
So where's the meme of Phil Spencer sitting down like tired Thanos? It's
Yes.
like, where did your Candy Crushes and your Call of Duty bring you? Back to me.
Jack to me, exactly. It's hilarious, man.
On the possibility of saying something ignorant, which I never do. What's so important about retaining the develop? Is Bungie as it stands the best form of Bungie that we've seen? Because honestly, calling a spade, man. I've heard a lot of people talking about how their development has gone downhill in recent years, and that their practices are kind of becoming exploitative. Are the people that are there that important to throw, what was it, $1.2 billion at it?
It is to Sony, apparently, because, again, the game is very profitable. The franchise is extremely profitable. So the people that are making it, they seem like they're worth retaining to Sony's eyes.
I was just about to say, best in which context? Because, again, if you're looking at the people, are they good people? Can they make a good product? Probably not. Again, I've not played Destiny 2 or Destiny 1, so I have no idea. But in terms of profitability, well, numbers don't lie.
Exactly.
So maybe they're seeing it in a sense of, hey, these people can make this much profit. Let's keep them so that they can make us that much profit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you could do it straight by numbers, that just seems.
Well, I mean, that is the way these companies operate. It's about numbers.
I know. It seems like a detached, weird way to do business, but
how? It's all about money in the end, dude.
Because, well, it is, but you'd also think that it's something about, optics and legacy. That's essentially what you'd be thinking that they're buying part of here. I mean, yeah, I guess they're just buying a profit turning machine, but it seems like so much more than that. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking about it like this, Brett. If let's say the allegations on Activision didn't pop up last year, and let's say they were just status quo throughout whole 2021, but they suddenly decided to sell, and they told Microsoft, "Hey, we want to sell." Microsoft would buy them up without thinking twice, and would keep the same regime and the status quo as long as it keeps making them the same money. But now that it's a PR nightmare to keep those folks, then they take them up because they ruin the bottom line. So they're
Well, keeping them, I totally get. Extending $1 billion worth of bonuses. That seems one of those you buy a sports team. You're like, oh, you're gonna replace any of the people? I mean, not necessarily. Everybody seems pretty good, so I'm just going to kind of keep it as it is. It's totally different than I'm going to buy the sports team and throw another $1 billion at this motherfucker to make sure they stay on there. That's something you do for your star, man. Like, and I will agree, it has been making excellent profits. But a lot of the rumblings from the community are that that's kind of been the fanfare has died down a little bit on it, just because people feel like they're kind of squeezing blood from a stone at this point.
Well, and just to be clear, that 1.2 billion is a deferred payment. It's not, it's considered a long-term incentive. So I think it's like deferred payments across multiple years. So it's not necessarily, hey, we're going to give you a bonus
too.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, it could be. And also, it's interesting to see, is it all the employees, or is it just the executives? Is it just the top people? Would be interesting to know. I don't think they clarified on that.
I'm not mean to talk shit on the company. I'm just saying, like, it's had a fairly high turnover rate. And the same way we could say, like, well, Bungie, clearly the people that are responsible for Halo aren't there at Bungie. I would imagine to a certain extent, or to a lesser extent, that would be the case here. Not everybody who made Destiny big is at Bungie now. So I'm curious where that money goes. Like, more than anything, I'm just curious where that money is going, who you're paying to stay, and why it's that important. But like Tony said, you could just be looking at the numbers in a very detached way and say, look, you keep making this much money, we'll give you this much money.
Yeah, I'm guarantee you that's how they're looking at it. So there's really nothing to there's no like mystery here. It's like, hey, these guys are making this much money. These are the guys making it. Keep them. That's pretty much as far as they go.
Yeah,
it's a pretty straightforward thing. There's some real something.
Would you guys have shelled out that much extra money to keep the current developers?
I'm not a CEO or business guy, so I don't know. I wouldn't.
Be honest,
yeah.
To be honest, I would say if to keep.
It makes sense to me to do that, though. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's like how many times have we talked about video games not essentially having the same people that made those games great, and then they're not really good anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like they're probably like, all right, these are the guys that are somehow that make the sausages well enough. So let's pay to keep them around, unless so that they continue to stay there and continue to do the same thing that they usually do. Because what could happen? People will be like, man, I don't want to be a part of another big company again. We already did this like 3 times, like 2 other times before.
Yeah.
It's also
just bounce.
It's also important to note that these employees are not only, staying in the same quote unquote company, but they're getting absorbed by Sony, a huge corporation that has different benefits, that has different stock compensation plans, that has different everything. Maybe they're enticing the employees. It's like, hey, maybe there's a mass exodus because people don't like the 401k plans or the stock compensation plans or the benefit plans. So this is just, I guess, I don't know how Sony, any of those benefits are for Sony working in their Sony. So it would be hard to tell, but it's a possibility. It could be something like that. A lot of people, especially since we're living in the mass, what is it? The mass resignation? What are they calling it?
Oh yeah. The
Great Resignation.
Great Resignation. Yeah.
People are leaving, hand over fist other companies.
Hey, you got it right.
Hand over fist. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but I think it makes sense, like, because I am trying to see this as a business. I'm like, okay, we just bought the studio. There's a history of mass exoduses and even a current problem with that. We want to retain these guys because they're making us money, pay them extra. So that makes sense to me.
It actually tracks a lot more to me too, in the sense of be like, look, we're not going to buy this fucking company, just to have the news report a week later that everybody left that company.
Exactly.
That's going to look bad on us.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I don't even know if all the faces who made Destiny 1 are still there, because that'd be something I'd be really curious to find out.
Yeah, who knows?
Within the community, I would say there's a pretty clear delineation about the success of Destiny 1 versus Destiny 2.
Yeah, Destiny took a little bit of a while to warm up. It's doing great now, but yeah, it wasn't. It didn't have that pop that the first one did initially. It took a while.
And then there was also, there was all that big scandal that was happening on behind the scenes, like how they couldn't, they did a report on it, and it was like, all this, that's essentially all the developers are essentially throwing shit at a wall, and they constantly redid the story.
Oh yeah, that was
and
the
stuff
first
like that.
game. Yeah, there was a lot
Yeah,
of things.
so-
Ironically, with Destiny 2, what made it popular again was when they made it more like Destiny 1. Ain't that something, you know?
I mean, that's a thing that happens a lot of times, man. They're just like, let's do something new and fresh, and people are like, nah, I don't want that, bro.
Yeah. Mop
have
hits. Yeah,
Applebee's.
go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, right. Mop hits. It's not the question show, but this question is related, so we'll try to answer it. Can you guys see Bungie working with other first-party studios, Sony first-party studios, I'm assuming here, that are under Sony, and do you guys think they would mesh together? I don't see that happening in the immediate future. It seems like Bungie's going to do what Bungie does. I don't think Sony's going to be like, hey, work with these guys, I mean, they may trade some assets or whatever, obviously, some kind of knowledge or whatever, but I don't think in the immediate future that's going to start happening, so I don't want to start speculating on that end, what could happen, because I already see a bunch of people going, oh, that's it, these motherfuckers going to make kill zones. Like, calm down, guys.
Now,
you
what about the stuff that's not design stuff? Like, could they use a lot of the back-end technology to build their other as-service games?
Yeah, they could do that, and obviously they're gonna, consult with them. Some of the current Sony teams will definitely go to the Bungie guys, like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? So there's definitely going to be cross-pollination in that sense, but I don't think we're going to see like, oh, Bungie's going to develop the next Last of Us or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, but if I'm at Sony, the interns are sure as shit spending a couple weeks over at Bungie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, think about it. When Kojima went over to Sony, or he started working with Sony, what was the first thing he went right over to Guerrilla Games? Like, yo, how do you make that shit work? So
Well,
there's definitely going to be
the
stuff like
Decim
that.
engine.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be happening for sure. Hey, Brett, I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, you guys are going to do a boot camp for a week or two.
Well, dude,
Destiny,
I mean-
a Bungie boot camp.
Yeah, I mean, despite what you like, whatever you think about Destiny, love it, hate it, somewhere in between, that shit is functional. Like, they didn't have any real technical issues.
No.
They didn't have a lot of fallback. So it would be good to kind of train the rest of their employees with that. I mean, the last thing you want is to launch a live service game and then hit a hiccup in the first week.
Yeah, I know for sure.
That
And
shit can kill your game.
and I still maintain that Destiny has the best first-person shooting mechanics out there. Bar none. Sorry, Call of Duty.
Yeah. Dude, like that.
Yeah.
That shit feels on point.
Yes, and obviously, where does that come from, Brett? From the experience,
Oh yeah, well, and maybe that's another thing they can kind of bleed through. Like, that's definitely one of the. If you talk about Destiny and really, what they're known for and what they're famous for, like, yeah, it's Halo, but Halo was always about the gunplay, and that definitely translated through to Destiny. So that's the thing that, yes, they should definitely exploit the hell out of, because getting good gun feeling it's damn near impossible, man.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, But yeah, let's see what else do we have here. This one's related. So yeah, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, and this went up the day after the announcement, I believe, has hit 1 million pre-orders. That's a DLC, by the way, which is insane. So it goes to show you that Destiny is a very healthy franchise for sure.
I don't even know what numbers mean anymore, man. Like to me, like, you're like 1 million people. I'm like, wow, 1 million people. That's a lot of people. But in like the same sense, we're talking about an industry where like, this shit only sold 4 million copies. It's a failure.
Yeah, but I think for this instance, that's pretty impressive. I mean, again, Bungie's out there touting it,
No,
themselves.
100%. Like, is there somebody here more number oriented? Like, is that a lot for like DLC? Because it doesn't sound like a lot.
It sounds like a shit ton to me.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a lot, and it's a pre-order too. I mean,
Yeah.
the shit's not even out. I'm sure once it gets in somebody's hands, and once the influencers play it, and you see people
Oh,
stream
yeah,
it,
it's
and
gonna
stuff,
blow up even
it'll
more.
blow up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 1 million.
So getting
is
that
nothing
just
to
on
sneeze at.
hype,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pure hype right now, and it got that many pre-orders. Then yeah, it'll.
Well, I mean, there's in fairness, there's not much of a difference between 1 million subscribers subscribing to a live service game for 10 months and 10 million subscribers buying it fucking once. So in terms of sheer profit, I totally get it. That's a shitload of money. I'm just spoiled from hearing about people selling 15,000 or 15 million copies of a game, man.
Yeah, but few people do that, by the way.
No, I know.
Yeah. But again, we're talking about DLC here. That's pretty insane. I don't think all million are because of the announcement. Obviously, I'm pretty sure most were already on board, but it didn't hurt either. The announcement did not hurt either. Tell you that.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me considering how many people on my timeline. I'm like every other month, I see someone getting back to Destiny again. Gonna hop on Destiny.
Destiny hasn't stopped on my timeline.
And it's like, man, these people still playing it, and you got to think about it. This game is Destiny 2 is 5 years old.
Yeah,
or is about to be 5 years old, and a DLC releasing on today's environment, selling $1 million for a game that's been out for God knows how long. That's not World of Warcraft or GTA. I still feel like it's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, that's just the pre-orders. Once this goes live and the influencers, that's it. It's going to be even more than that.
Honestly, I want Bungie not, and they're not. They're going to do a Destiny 3.
Oh, hold on! I gotta stop real quick. Crashing Game Night, Matt. I'm assuming that's you. I was on their podcast right before Throwdown tonight, so shout out to you, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Nice.
We got to get you and the fellas on. He says he got to go to bed, put the kids to it, so maybe Throwdown's a little too late for you, but we'll try to get you on. Anyway, Carlos, continue, man. I had to give the brother a shout out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's one of those things where I hope they make a new IP for Sony. It's seeing the tweets during the day. I just cracked me up. Like there's this tweet that said, they've been trying to get a Halo. Sony in particular has been trying to get a Halo killer for all these years. And they
you mean my tweet?
No, a lot of people tweeted it. To be fair,
yeah, a lot of people tweeted it. So I don't know who I saw.
I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we just buy the people who made Halo, exactly. and then it's like Hayes. It's like Hayes walked. So Hayes walked. So Resistance can crawl or something like I forgot what it was exactly, but it's like all of these quote unquote Halo killers. Living and dying.
Killzone was another one.
Killzone, yeah, so we can get to the final form, which is Bungie.
Yeah, exactly. No, that is pretty funny. It's like, hey, how do you make a Halo killer? Get the company that made Halo. Even though to be fair, we don't need a Halo killer anymore because Halo's kind of dead.
Call of Duty. Yeah, I was about to say, how do you kill Halo? Leave it alone for 20
leave it
years.
alone. Let it kill itself.
Well, Carlos, to be fair, Sony bought the company that made Halo. Microsoft bought the companies that killed Halo.
Oh,
yeah.
This is true.
Yep, they did do that.
They created the company that killed Halo.
They paid a hefty price for it too.
Yeah,
69 billion.
Excuse me.
And like Infinity War, was it worth it?
What is it? What did it cost? Everything. By the way, Mob Hit said Mac. Shout out to Mac.
That's Brian's favorite game,
Yeah, potential.
Do you think this is the end of the Sony acquisitions?
No,
no.
Sony flat out said there's going to be more.
Yep.
Okay. Well, okay.
And by the way, Jeff Keighley tweeted out. He's like, "Oh yeah, this isn't the end of acquisitions." He didn't say which company or whatever, but he's talking about Sony.
Yeah, he's talking about. This is Jeff Keighley. So
talks about Sony.
Yeah, so it's combined that with Sony literally going, we're going to buy more companies, and there you go. I called this right now, 2022, the year of the acquisitions, because Microsoft is probably going to buy another one for the year ends.
The gaming acquisition.
Yeah, the great gaming acquisition. Yeah,
like the Spanish Inquisition.
Gaming World War II.
Everybody
draw lines and pick sides. So here's the wild speculation question I want to ask you guys. So now we have seen Sony making an acquisition, most likely in response to an acquisition made by Microsoft. Again, not the recent one, the one that happened earlier. Mm-hmm. That's kind of counterpoint to a lot of us thought, because a lot of us, I think, honestly, were kind of sitting there being like, yeah, that's just not how Sony rolls.
Yeah.
So now that we've seen this, what does that say about the level of shookedness that Sony's feeling right now?
I don't think it's shookedness, to be honest. It's like, hey, we are missing this. We have a glaring hole in our portfolio. These guys will fill it. Let's do that. Because Brett, I know you set it up as like Sony did this as a response. I'm not willing to go that far, right? I think it's more like, hey,
this is a response to Bethesda.
Not 100%. I don't want to say, again, that's too speculative for my taste, so I don't want to say that one way or another. I don't want to say it isn't either. I just don't want to go that far. Understand?
Okay, well, let me put it this. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
It's not a response to the Bethesda acquisition. It's a response to Game Pass.
Oh, listen, see, I'll be more willing to buy that. Because again, this is about growing. And even Jim Ryan this week said, hey, listen, we're trying to grow, our subscriptions here.
Listen.
So I think that's more realistic than it's like, oh, they bought a company, we got to buy a company too.
I don't think it's so much. I don't think it's cut as dry as they bought a company, we got to buy a company. I mean, if you're asking me, here's how I see it. Sony has resorted to tactics that Sony has never resorted to before. Does that mean that they're scared? No. Does that mean that they're panicking? No. Does that mean that they're willing to try and branch out to stay competitive? Yeah. But that also says something to me. That is not a pointless statement.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from.
For a long time, Sony's like, we're doing it our way. Fuck you. And to see them kind of change a little bit says to me like, okay, it's not that they're scared, but they're starting to consider this maybe something that maybe a fight that they actually want to eat their Wheaties for.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't want to speculate too much. I will say this, though. It kind of throws the whole narrative that even we had on this podcast that we're like, oh, if Sony buys a company, they're going to make them exclusive. They were like, with Bungie, like, no, you guys are not exclusive. Keep doing what you do, So that's an interesting pivot right there as well from Sony. You never would have saw that coming. Remember, we always said, oh, but if they bought Bethesda, they would have blocked them down absolutely. Maybe they wouldn't have. They're not doing that with Bungie.
They could be doing. I mean, they could be taking the tactic of what's that game? EverQuest, where they didn't. It was available for whatever it was available for.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's that sort of idea.
Was it EverQuest only on PC or
I think it was only PC.
It was only PC.
Yeah, it was PC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I want to mention something Tumeka says. He said Sony bought heaps of studios over the years. That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, Sucker Punch, the Returnal people.
Yeah, those guys.
Insomniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they always buy studios. They've had a close.
Did you say Insomniac twice?
No, Sucker Punch. I said Sucker Punch, the Returnal people,
and Blue Point. Throw them in there,
Blue Point. Yep.
So yeah, Sony's known for buying studios. So in that sense, buying Bungie isn't surprising, but it is also because remember Sony usually goes, hey, we've had. No, actually, never mind. I take back what I said because I was going to say Sony usually buys studios to have a relationship with. They already had a relationship with Bungie, Because
here's the thing, like.
Go ahead.
While they're eating studios, they're going studio to studio. Microsoft has the ability to eat publishers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're getting multiple studios. So I think if you're right, if 2020 is the year of acquisitions, Microsoft may have a roadblock because somebody's going to yell antitrust at some point.
The segue king right there. We're going to talk about that in a bit, But Chris, wait, hold on. Just the image I had right now when Chris was talking about that, like this, what I saw in my head. Sony, right? Great white shark, right? Big fucking fish, right? Eating up small fish, and then Microsoft is this fucking whale just. Whoa!
Yo, man, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, Tony.
What's up?
I was thinking it's like. Yeah, what's it called? The Sony has like a what's it called? A Titan appetite, and then but freaking Microsoft is Galactus.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that.
Tony, I was gonna say Sony, they're the whales, and Microsoft are the Japanese whalers.
Oh shit! That is definitely a controversial statement.
You just very controversial statement. I just imagine that big net Mr. Burns made that was capturing whales and all this other shit. Remember that? What was the name of that the stuff he made? Like slurry or something? You know what I'm talking about, right? You got-
Oh, the fish slurry.
yeah. Remember that? He oh look like if one packet of 6 packs of catch one fish, a million catch a million fish. It's like, oh shit, Microsoft and Mr. Burns basically.
Smithers.
Smithers. Oh man! All right, you know what, Chris, you're already teased, so let's get into it, man. Unless you guys have anything else to say about the whole Bungie acquisition.
I want to hear about this.
All right, so the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is investigating the Microsoft Activision deal to see if there's any possible, monopoly going on. Very interesting. Antitrust. Basically, and Carlos, isn't it the Justice Department that usually does this stuff? Like,
Well, it's the Federal Trade Commission. They're their own. Yeah, like it's like I don't know if it's like the same thing, but
no, but like apparently one of the unusual things, like usually it's the Justice Department that handles this, but the FTC's like, well, no, we're coming in. We got to investigate this shit. And it's funny because I remember some people were going crazy. They're like, or is the American government going to investigate? Salty fanboys were saying this shit, and some people were even adding Biden. Like, President, can you please investigate this? Salty
Honestly,
fanboys.
I think that's why this is happening. Like, I think this is just happening so that they can, everything's above board. I don't think that this is a legitimate monopoly issue here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll read this real quick. This is a short report from this is from Game Industry Biz. The U.S.'s Federal Trade Commission will be handling the antitrust review of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The FTC is to investigate whether the purchase will harm competition instead of the U.S. Justice Department, a source close to the matter told Bloomberg. The publication pointed out that antitrust reviews can be the responsibility of either entity, with the FTC usually, quote-unquote, more aggressive in its policing than the Justice Department. The FTC sued to block NVIDIA's $4 billion acquisition of chip manufacturer ARM. Yeah, $40 billion, yeah. With recent reports saying the purchase could be abandoned. That's a little bit of a different story, but we'll get into that. A couple of weeks ago, the Justice Department and FTC announced joint plans to revisit merger guidelines as there has been a surge in M&As. Someone needs to explain that one to me. M&As over the last few years, Reuters reports, and Microsoft announced the acquisition. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so interesting. So it's usually the Justice Department that handles this, but now they have the FTC, who's apparently more aggressive, stepping in. And it's true because we have seen a lot of acquisitions in general lately. Not just in gaming. So I guess they're having new guidelines.
Disney and all these, and all these other companies, AT&T, all these guys are all trying to jump into the whole into the digital market of content. Having content to do. So like they're all gobbling each other up. So what happens after that when everything is all in like about 3 different companies?
Yeah. By the way, I got to read what Mob Hit said because I thought the same thing. I was like, yo, there's a Sony fanboy in the Justice Department pissed off. Man, we got to investigate this shit, man. They're gonna take away my games. So yeah, thoughts. Actually, Chris, you were already talking about. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, it's despite all the fanboy stuff, it's a legitimate concern, and you do have to look at it because if Microsoft were to keep consuming publishers, right, and acquiring multiple studios at the same time, the competition aspect comes into play. Where it's like, okay, I have just maybe somehow through venture capital I managed to open up a studio. I can't now. I need a publisher, right, or I self-publish, which is expensive, and I would need to make deals with point of purchase like Target and Walmart and all these places. I can't do that. I would need a publisher. Oh wait, I either talk to Sony or talk to Microsoft now because they have acquired the publishers, right? So you're working with one, work the other. That lack of competition means that Microsoft could strong arm me. It's like, hey, listen, we'll give you a sweet publishing deal. If you go with Sony, maybe Best Buy won't carry you, or maybe we'll push you to the back of the store. It gets into that kind of speculation where it's like, will my product be marginalized because Microsoft owns most of the publishing entities now, and then either if I don't work with Sony or I self-publish, I will be pushed out of the market. Yeah. I can't compete fairly with them, right? So that's a legit concern. With that, and yeah, they do need to look at that, and I think it's gonna get more they're going to have investigation each time. If they buy somebody else this year, it's definitely going to get investigated. Might get the FTC may stop it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
the same thing happened with Sony and Crunchyroll. Like Sony's like, yeah, we'll buy Crunchyroll, and the Justice Department, like you said, they investigated that because it's like, hey, if Sony buys Crunchyroll, they will own all the anime distribution in North America,
Yeah.
right? They own Funimation, they bought all of those, right? And I was like, oh well, if you buy that, then you have a monopoly on all anime distribution in North America. That's a problem. So
Yeah.
that's the concern here with
But
Microsoft.
yeah, but here's my question though. And forgive me if this sounds ignorant, but I'm like, even if the deal goes through, there's still other game publishers and developers out there. Microsoft isn't the only game in town. So I don't see how this is a monopoly, or am I missing something here?
Well, I think it has to do more with sort of the market share. I guess if they have, because for example, the Crunchyroll Sony one, yeah, Chris was right. They did investigate that, but that went through.
Yeah.
But for example, the Nvidia ARM deal, that essentially that's pretty much dead.
Yeah, it's dead. Yeah,
that
would have been a real monopoly, though. Like it
would have been.
It, yeah,
it would have been a fucking hell of a company.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's with this one. I don't know if it's that. It obviously there could be a catalyst for Microsoft to just get more and more and more. But I don't think this within itself is enough to to make it a sort of quote unquote a monopoly. I think they even mentioned in the purchase that they'd be the third biggest publisher behind Tencent and Sony.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's still other big publishers out there, right? And there's still the Ubisoft still out there, EA still out there.
Right.
Well, those are minuscule compared to.
Yeah, but they're still out there regardless.
And sometimes these investigations are just maneuvers to get companies who are thinking like, hey, we can just take this aggressive expansion and just keep buying and acquiring stuff, right? Because what if like maybe Microsoft's good for 6 months and then go, hey, EA, get over here. We're gonna start dealing, and we're gonna find your price, and then EA is off the table, right? Then it's like then it's too late to start, right? Like, oh, we've let Microsoft just acquire all this stuff, and now we're trying to reel them in. It's too late at that point. You want to try to at least put in their minds like, hey, this is way aggressive maneuvers. Even if we let this acquisition happen, like you think about future acquisitions and handle that more carefully.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? They probably will just let it go through, I think. But, it is interesting that just happened to, that they're being investigated like that. Again, I just, my thinking is just like, oh yeah, there must be some fanboy that's pissed off about this, or one of their kids, well, Call of Duty, I can't play Call of Duty on my PlayStation no more. All right, I'll investigate it. Shut up, But
yeah, I think it's gonna go through.
I think so too.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but yeah, it does. It is setting a precedent though, and that precedent can lead to crazy shit. There's still after this. I feel like what are the next two, like the two relatively biggest ones that could potentially be on sale, like Activision. I mean, EA and Take-Two.
Yeah.
Those are the next two that are on the lookout. Who knows what'll happen with them?
Didn't EA make a statement? I think they said they are looking to buy companies. Not that they're looking to sell.
Well, there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah. That's true.
Always a bigger fish.
All right, man.
Anakin.
Anything else you guys want to say about this, the antitrust stuff? Take that as a no, and move on. This one, we're still kind of on. Tonight's the sales show, by the way. The money.
Are we sailing?
Right. So PS5, we're going to talk about PS5 and Xbox Series X sales. It's very interesting. So this comes to us from Bungie Sales over on Twitter. He's a very good analyst, right? So he says that the PS5 has, as of now, sold 17.3 million units, and the Xbox Series, interesting. He didn't specify. I guess it's both of them, you know. So Xbox Series has sold 12 million. So there's 5 million gap. He says it's a much closer gap than last generation's launch aligned. So it's not as the gap isn't as big as it was last gen, right? And also, remember how we said the PS5 was the fastest selling PlayStation of all time? That is no longer the case.
It went down.
It slowed down, right? At this point in time, the PlayStation 4 sold 20 million. PlayStation has, as we said, 17 million. So things have slowed down. And Sony even put out reports like they're pulling back their forecast for how many consoles they're going to sell because the chip shortage and all that other shit, that's been going on. It had to happen. It had to happen. Yeah. So, yeah, what do you guys... go ahead.
It had to happen. And those motherfuckers that video you sent, having all those fucking PlayStations on the fucking stoop.
Fucking idiots, man. And it was raining too. You had no boxes wet, bro. Those boxes were just laying on the street.
So Tony sends the video, and I'm pretty sure it's it's been circulating all over Twitter. Yeah. It's these people outside outside a house, and it's like there's just a fucking van full of fucking PlayStation 5s, and like there's like over more than a dozen PlayStations on the ground. I'm like, why is it on the ground?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I'm like, nobody came and steal that shit. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, what do you guys think of these sales numbers?
It makes sense. I mean, it's literally reflecting exactly what's going on right now, because of all the shortages and all that sort of stuff, And then again, there's no right now that you can't get yourself a PlayStation or an Xbox, So obviously all of this stuff is pretty much what everybody was sort of worried about earlier on, right? And now everything is sort of coming to fruition. Now everything is even more difficult to get. So it's going to slow down. And that's purely the reason why we see, guys like Sony making those decisions, how every single console game is essentially on the previous console generation.
Yeah, cross-gen games, yeah.
It's all these cross-gen games. They just did Gran Turismo over the weekend, over the last few days, and they were talking about the previous console, talking about PlayStation 4. So,
yeah, and remember we talked about how they're ramping up production of the PS4.
They're ramping up PS4 production, so obviously somehow they can't, they can't get 5s out there, but they can most assuredly get you a bunch of 4s.
Yeah, exactly. So very interesting. The Xbox is, holding in there, 12 million. Nothing to sneeze at.
What are we saying? We're just waiting for the generation to begin. Still,
I'm curious. Go ahead.
I mean, I want to say that's actually a thorn in the side of Microsoft. I think. I mean, the fact that you can't get both consoles, because let's be honest, Sony has had a stranglehold in the industry for a while. For every day that you can't pick up either console, that's one more day that a console sale is in jeopardy, because there are motherfuckers who have wanted a PlayStation. There are people who wanted a PlayStation 5 when the shit first dropped, and now they're kind of thinking like, well, maybe if I see an Xbox, I'll grab that. So like if we would have not had supply limits at the beginning of this generation, I don't know that this would be as close as it is. And honestly, every day that we have supply limit issues, I think is a better day for Microsoft at the end. Not that anybody wants to be having supply issues or not be able to get their shit, but I mean, think about it. When the kind of narrative when the consoles first released to now, like Microsoft has a lot more fucking game studios now. The whole narrative of looking down the barrel of the gun, be like, how many games are coming my way? How many things will I be able to play? Like that whole dynamic has shifted since the consoles were released.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, we're still waiting for these games, Well,
no, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if it's another year before the supply line issues are out, right, and that gives Microsoft a chance to drop an actual few games, possibly even a couple of big name exclusive ones, that's a much better position than they were at the beginning of the generation. So, by artificially holding it off, it kind of helps them close the gap on Sony potentially. There's a definite maybe in that sense, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we would have just started off with, as anybody wanted a PS5 could get a PS5, I think a lot of the PlayStation a lot of people would have gotten a PlayStation 5 by now.
Yeah, but it's just hard to get any of these consoles right now. But the PS5 is still more in demand than the Xbox, it seems.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Sony needs to hurry up and get stock out while that's still definitely the case, because each day that goes by, that becomes a little bit more watered down.
Yeah, but again, remember, how much stock they could put out is not exactly up to them. They don't really have power over that, unfortunately.
I know. My point is, we may look back on this in 5 years and say the pandemic's the thing that helped close the gap.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Microsoft is a lot more competent now than they were last generation, so that also that helps significantly. But yeah, the shortages, when there's a shortage of PlayStations and there's a demand for it, a high demand for it, but there's also another console that's around that's also in the shortage. Every time any of these consoles come in stock, it's a lucrative item, to buy or to sell. So it's definitely helping, leveling up the playing field a lot more than last generation. Last generation, it was just from the jump, it was skewed.
Yeah. Microsoft pretty much committed suicide before the race started,
Yeah, so this generation, the story's a lot more different, and who knows, maybe Microsoft, is. I always thought that Microsoft, this could potentially be the last console, and they just be a service exclusively. But this might be the year or this might be the generation that says that they're still in it for the long run in terms of consoles.
Yeah, no, it's pretty clear that Microsoft's more serious about games now. It's not like before. But yeah, so we'll keep track of it's still amazing to me either console sold this many, amid all the issues going on in the world right now.
We're locked in the house. We want to play video games, bro.
No, you can't get these systems because of the chip shortage, because of the pandemic. That's what I'm talking about,
Oh, wait, are you saying that you're surprised they managed to manufacture this many?
Yes, then? Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, how the hell did you make this many? It's like, it's insane,
I'm still not entirely sure why the fucking chip shortage is happening, other than lack of rare earth materials. But that's super fucking vague.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of them. But obviously, again, the pandemic has slowed everything down in general.
There's there's a loss of rare earths, and there's also the fact that China is also pulling some sneaky shit out in Africa. They're pulling some stuff out in Africa where essentially they're, stuff like locking up their airports, and essentially, because they can't pay for infrastructure, they essentially take over, specific mines and all kinds of other crazy things. So, there's some moves going on.
Yeah.
Well, there's also supply chain shortages where there's boats stuck on ports that can't offload materials and supplies, and also in places like China and other companies that develop a lot of the things that we purchase. When they have shutdowns, they actually shut down everything.
Yeah.
So like for them, if there's an outbreak, a COVID outbreak or something like that, they shut everything down. Unlike us, it's like we're like, all right, we're just gonna fucking go through everything. We've moved past that.
We're gonna strap a diaper to our chin and move on with our day.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? All right. Any other last thoughts on this, the sales and all that? Again, I'm just like, oh shit. So PlayStation 5 finally slowed down. It had to happen. It had to happen.
Gotta have something.
It had to happen.
I mean, it may have only slowed down because it had to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because of the what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a page from Nintendo's playbook, that technically means that demand might even be higher.
Yeah. Oh
so
shit! I don't have that in
hand.
Yeah. Thank you, Brett. You just reminded me of something we don't have in the show notes. All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh, just that by the time we see supply come back in, demand may have reached a fevered pitch.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Throwing this in right now. Speaking about sales, we're talking about sales tonight, baby.
Sailing.
Is the sale down?
Yeah, right. So the Nintendo Switch has officially outsold the Wii.
That's crazy.
Ain't that something, right? So let me bring up the numbers here. So it has sold over 100 million units, obviously. What the exact number is 103.54 million units as of December 31st, 2021. Which is insane, absolutely insane, you know? And even though Nintendo obviously has, going through the same issues, people can't buy the systems, it hasn't, slowed things down too much, So what do we think about that?
It's crazy, and it's gonna keep on selling too. That's the crazy part about it. All they need to do is this is, and I saw this coming like not too long after it launched. This is like more of the successor of the DS than it is the Wii.
Yeah, in a weird way, because because Nintendo they advertise this thing as a console, which is crazy.
Yeah, so it's selling like crazy. It keeps selling. The Switch OLED is a success, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it inevitably. That Switch Pro is gonna come out one of these days, and that is just gonna extend the lifespan of the Switch for a decade.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because Nintendo did say that they feel the Switch is halfway through its life cycle, right? So that'll definitely keep it going for sure. Chris, what's your take on Nintendo Switch selling this many units? And, also me and you being completely wrong about this fucking system, I have, check the tweets, check the podcast. I said the Switch would die and sell no more than 4 million in its lifetime. Boy, was I wrong,
Too. It's done really well, and it kept that trajectory going. I mean, it was outpacing the Wii sales from the jump when we at first admitted we were wrong, and then it just kept going. So I really think Nintendo's prepared for the Switch Pro. I think they proved that with the OLED system and the change in the dock, that it is capable of 4K already.
Yeah.
So that's coming, and I'm probably by near the end of this year they're going to announce the Switch Pro, because I would think even with supply chain issues they would be ready at that point to ship enough units worldwide to start sales going. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a phenomenon. It keeps it prints money, and I don't know, I don't know what would stop it. Like, honestly, it would slow down obviously if they just kept the Switch the same way. I mean, the OLED screen was just a screen update. None of the hardware changed. So if the gap in technology for them falls too far behind that, and I could see a slowdown. It's like, hey, this looks like shit on the TV and whatever, and they upgrade, so the Pro would fix that. So other than that, and they provide their own titles, which is what people want. People are screaming, "Where's Breath of the Wild? Where's Pokemon? With this, with that?" They're the ones producing that. They don't have to wait on any third parties or acquire any studios to get their content. They're doing it, so
yeah,
they're good.
By the way, GZD, are you crazy, bro? He goes, Tony, do you want a Switch or do you want the Steam Deck to emulate Switch games? I'm like, I already got a Switch and the Steam Deck's coming, so I got both, But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about this. Although it's just interesting how like Sony and Microsoft are like fighting each other, graphics, power, all this other stuff. Meanwhile, Nintendo's over there on their side, like la 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 la, playing on grass and shit, with Pokemon and little kids and stuff,
It's ridiculous, man. Just thinking about how many games Nintendo Switch has released that are like the top sellers. It's like it's all their usual suspects.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah,
it's like they haven't really, the number one best selling Switch game is Mario Kart 8. It's a Wii U game.
Yeah, the port is the best selling game.
It's a Wii U port. They're what is it? The fourth best selling game is Breath of the Wild, and that's on the Switch, on the Wii U also.
Yeah. So what is this? This comes out of Nintendo's financials. Chris, do we need to do something about this?
Yeah, I can look at the financials for Sunday.
Yeah, right here, February 3rd, 2022.
Oh, it released today. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll bring you some. Maybe somebody will ask a question about it. Wink, wink. You know?
It was the last quarter. The last quarter has been releasing all the earnings. Sony did it, Microsoft did it, and I think.
Oh,
Nintendo
and I
did
got a lot to look at.
Ooh, let's go with them financials.
I tell you,
Yeah,
at least Nintendo and even Sony's
They're
report
easy,
is
yeah.
good. I always show Microsoft. Oh, that's a nightmare. I will try. I will
Yeah.
make the attempt.
They got like Chris is like sifting through LinkedIn and all this other shit.
They will spend pages of their report bragging about Azure, Windows
Azure, yeah.
Enterprise, LinkedIn, all that stuff, and then our games division. It's like, you mean Xbox, motherfuckers? That's
Yeah.
what I was looking for.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I just want to do a really small rant on the Switch, man. Where the fuck are the great games? Like
I
from
mean,
like
to Nintendo fans, they're already great games. You know.
man, like
Carlos?
Again, you know, you're talking Carlos, guys like me and you. The Switch is not for us, man. Let's just keep it real here. You know?
But every fucking year, and I got a lot of Switch friends. It's like every fucking year they just fucking post Pokemon. It's
Yeah.
like there's a Pokemon game every fucking year that everyone's hyped about. I'm like, are you fucking? Is this getting worse than Call of Duty?
Yeah, right. Pokemon is the Nintendo fans' Call of Duty. There you go. Brett, you gonna say something?
Oh yeah, you asked where all the good Switch games were. I was about to say on the Steam Deck.
Oh,
You mean on Steam?
Oh, by the way, Brett. By the way, God of War, Steam Deck proof.
oh, let's go. Let's go.
Brian, you can look forward to that.
Yeah, right. There you go. God of War on your Steam Deck.
Oh, shit,
Yeah, thanks.
Dad of War on a rooftop party. Let's do this.
Oh,
I'd
man.
rather throw my Dad Award disc out the window.
Oh,
Oh, you bought it physically too?
well, he got the platinum, so he's good. He doesn't need to play
Yeah.
that again.
Yeah, but Brian, like, think now you can throw your whole Dad of War system out the window.
Throw it off the roof.
Yeah, you have all kinds of options.
Yo, I'm. Oh, good.
I was just the thought of playing Dad of War on a rooftop party. That rooftop party meme will never end, I swear.
It
to God.
really
It's like the
won't.
best
Oh.
thing
Would you
ever.
rather interact
the-
with other guests who go to rooftop parties?
Don't forget about that. I might be posting something about that, sometime.
Rooftop parties on Steam Deck. Let's go.
Just by the way, I did see. I was watching this video on Steam Deck, and apparently, and I don't know how official this is. It was just the person that was talking about it. They said that Q2 2022 is the earliest people are getting as their expected delivery dates for Steam Deck releases. So some of us here have Q2 2022, and obviously they're releasing it on February 25th. So I think we're first in line.
Yeah.
We're like the first big batch.
Yeah, that'd be good. If we get their shit early.
I'm after Q22, but that's cool. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Gotta humble brag sometime.
Nah,
We'll
it's
save you
cool.
a seat on the rooftop.
See you on the rooftop.
See you in the rooftop soon.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, I'll show my custom anti-glare screen that I'm still definitely putting a screen protector
Hey, there you go.
You know?
Oh man, good stuff. All right,
Man, but
what's
if
up?
just real quick,
Yeah.
if I get it day one, you know where that's going, man. In New York.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, man.
Bro, I thought you meant like on your desk. Like where
Yeah,
Where'd
that's
you go?
it.
Like,
Push all that shit
between Xbox
aside.
and PlayStation
Yeah.
or the big
Oh,
room?
Brian, that's a teaser.
Uh-oh.
Is it going into the pocket of a mugger because he used it on the train?
Yeah.
Nah, I definitely won't use it on the train.
Don't be stupid,
I gotta say, one of 4 places in the world where this thing would just really fucking shine, but you don't dare pull that son of a bitch out.
Yo, give me that Steam Deck,
Yo, let me
son.
get that Steam Deck.
In your pocket.
Yeah, and crime has been rising in New York, so yeah, you definitely don't want to be doing that,
Oh yeah,
I think
I heard.
crime's still lower there than it is here, though.
Oh yeah, no, it is, but it's just been rising. Like there's been instances where it feels like the '80s again. The pandemic fucked everything up, man. I'm telling you.
People, obviously, I don't live in New York, but since I'm going, I have a lot of friends and relatives who've been texting me. He's like, oh, have you heard about this happening on? I'm like, all right, I'm still not going to change my mind. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Things are getting a little crazy around here. Let's just say the least. All right. The last thing here, something that's actually not about sales.
Oh.
The question is, do I have it ready? Yes, I do.
Well, it's not the question show, so we'll wait till Sunday.
All right. So the Suicide Squad game has been delayed to 2023. My question was, it was supposed to release this year.
Really?
Like, the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm like, okay, how many times have we seen it's like, oh, this game's been delayed? It's like, how can you delay a game that never had a release date? You know, remember with God of War Ragnarok, they delayed. It's like, oh, it's been delayed. What do you mean delayed? You didn't have an official release date yet. You just had a year. You know.
So it's funny because it's like, we're gonna be doing a delay. It's like, wait a minute, when was this shit supposed to drop?
There's and like this is like the third game in a row this year where it's like, oh, we're sorry to announce we're delayed. Like, but you didn't have a release date. So what are you talking about? You could have literally not said anything. Nobody would have been the wiser.
Yeah, you could just be like, we're working on it.
So, I mean, I don't really have any strong feelings one way or another, right? But I just find that kind of interesting. I'm like, but you guys, they didn't have a release date.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I guess it does now. That's like, okay. So you pushed it back. Okay. So 2023. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm more curious about, what it's running on. Is it PS5 and Series?
I believe it's next gen only.
Next gen only.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they announced it. Maybe who knows now, right? Maybe that's the reason for the delay, right? We got to make it cross gen. We got to downgrade this shit.
We got to get this shit quick.
It's like Sony did what? They turned the fabs back on for PS4 quick.
Yeah. Mob hits. He goes, I can see Tony pulling out his Steam Deck and his nephew playing Breath of the Wild 2, and Tony be like, I got that game on here too. That is funny, but I will say this. If my youngest nephew was playing Breath of the Wild 2, I'd be so fucking proud. Because you know what he's actually playing? Fortnite. Right? He's playing Fortnite. Please play Zelda. Play a real game. Don't play fucking Fortnite.
That thing plays video games too.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. You know, but I am happy when he at least plays Fortnite, because sometimes he comes here and he watches people play Fortnite. Right. I'm telling you, man.
You can play that.
I'm like, you can play it too. Like right here. It's like, yeah, but I'm watching him. Man, I told him one time I ran into Ninja at an event. His eyes lit up. Oh my god, you ran into Ninja! Like, bro, he was there doing the same fucking thing I was doing. You know, nothing special about him.
He's like, hey, what up, Tony?
Yeah. No, I saw Ninja. I saw him at
I heard what you said about me.
I heard what you said, man. You talking shit about my hair? You know, why does Ninja talk like that? You know, but I saw the guy.
He has like a squealy voice.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. No, but I saw the guy sitting there. I'm like, hey, it's Ninja. I have nothing to say to the guy, so I didn't bother. You know, what am I gonna say? I have nothing to say to the guy. You know.
Yo, what up, Ninja? He'd be like, oh, hi, guys.
Hi. Man, you playing the Division? You play the Division? Why would I talk like that to him, though? Yo, Ninja, you playing that? Who that?
Are you playing some Division, son?
I think
that's hip hop gamer. He would do that.
The most interaction you would do with him is the New York head nod, probably.
Yeah, you know. I wouldn't even give that. He's not from New York, you know. I wouldn't even give him that, you know.
You wouldn't even give him the knowing nod.
Yeah, well, you know, he doesn't know. He doesn't know the struggle, you know.
He don't.
You know, shout out to Ninja, man. Do your thing, brother. Do your thing. You know, no hate around here.
He's one of those dudes that, you know, will look people in the eyes when they walk down the street and they slap them upside the head. Why'd they do that?
Oh, bad. All right, man. I think we're done. No. So, do we have anything to plug?
Nope.
No plugs. Uh-oh. And we don't have Adam here, you know.
Adam, we don't. Even Adam doesn't have anything to plug right now. The
nuke. No,
the
nuke.
make sure this, the other day I was walking by the street and, I was talking, man, you remember Julio? Going to this corner store and, it's just
Bodega, no corner store. We don't have those around here, man. We have.
well,
no,
What
because
is
he's in no. He's in India
Oh yeah,
what
yeah.
is he, Wyoming.
Yeah, but he'll still call it a bodega. You know.
No, he would probably not call that a bodega because
do they even have corner stores in those places?
No, you go to Walmart.
Yeah, sorry, I go to Walmart. You know,
you go to places like the Wawa.
Yeah, I went to Costco. You know,
that's Philly.
No,
Pennsylvania.
That is Pennsylvania, but places like that. Other states have their version of Wawa.
I was going to the bodega.
Except for NYC. We don't got
I saw this meme. It had two pictures. Like one of them was like a big, bright, beautiful Manhattan, right? It's like what people think New York looks like. Oh no, what people think America looks like. Then the next one is like a strip mall with a bunch of signs of different stores, like what America actually looks like. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. When you leave the city, it's just fucking strip malls and forests. It's crazy.
By the way, is there the whole bodega cat kind of thing? Is that an actual thing?
Yeah.
They usually
they just leave the cats to do their thing,
Yeah, the cat, they feed the cat and he lives in a store.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the cat doesn't even belong to them. The cat just lives in the store,
He lives in a store and then, he helps out with any rats or anything that comes in it,
Remember, that's the reason humans originally kept cats,
I wish bodega cats were a thing that existed outside New York.
Bodega cats are pretty fun.
There is such a thing as a store cat. Like
I haven't seen it outside New York. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're against health regulations.
They probably are.
No, I mean if
that cat's sitting on that cup of noodles, man.
Well, I mean everything's all covered up, but no, I mean florist stores usually have a cat. A bunch of different types of stores, just because it's kind of like cheap exterminator. Especially if they have, a lot of rodents. As quite a bit of stores do have that.
Yeah.
Because of what the nature of what things that they make or produce. So.
Yeah, and because they're cats, no one's gonna be upset if they're laying on something or walking around. Hey, it looks a cat.
Yeah, they'll pet the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, you probably come in the store because there is a cat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's like, hey, look, it's a cat. I'm going to go in the store now. Then you buy something,
They're like, yeah, I knew it was good. Hey, Spider-Man.
Hey, Spider-Man. Oh, man. All right. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to the Crashing Game Night crew. I was on their podcast for briefly, not too long, having fun with them. We talked about a few of the topics we talked tonight. Shout out to those guys doing their thing over there on the Twitch and YouTube spaces, so go check those guys out. crashinggamenight.com that has links to all their stuff, so go make sure you check them out. Good fellas.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, Goodfellas is a good movie. Carlos, but I don't know if I told you this. I try not to watch so many gangster movies because then I want to be part of the mob. You know what I'm saying? I get hyped.
You want to throw down?
Kill him.
Yeah. And I look like a mobster too. You put me in a tuxedo, bro. I'm telling you, man.
Well, yeah, from that picture you sent us from that wedding, I was like, oh yeah,
yeah. You saw that shit with the tux and shit, the tie. I look like a fucking mob goon.
Goodfellas. It's narrated right from what's his name?
Henry Hill's perspective.
Yeah,
Ray Liotta's. Yeah,
Ray Liotta. It's narrated by him. Just imagine a Goodfellas, but it's narrated by Adam.
Oh man, that'd be hilarious.
That would be the best movie, man. The Adam stories.
Just have a whole movie of Adam stories, like reenactments of Adam stories. You're gonna need some special effects for that one.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's insane. Oh, man. All right, we're done here, people. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter and join the Discord where Mob Hits is always dropping the juiciest rumors available. Again, I don't know where my man finds them, but God bless you for posting that stuff. Throwdown podcast app, literally the podcast app on the planet we're on. We're on the Spotify. We're not pulling off of Spotify, by the way. We're staying on there. I don't think anybody got that joke, but anyway.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're throwdownshow.com, where you can listen to all the previous episodes, or most of them, at least like this iteration of Throwdown. You can listen to all those. And if you're on YouTube and you enjoyed the content, be sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when episodes go up. The Throwdown premieres are always on Mondays and Fridays at 10:45 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, links are located to all that stuff down below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Oh man, look at my line. I'm a lot like you were.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Guadalupe. Peace. Peace.
Brett Murdoch.
Early reviews of Dying Light 2 indicate that it is a genuinely fun game with a terrible story, but awesome to play. So the polar opposite of Last of Us.
Yeah. And exactly like the first Dying Light.
Yeah, surprise.
Ain't that something? And of course, Brian Manjoma.
Also in game news, Ghostwire Tokyo is a year exclusive for PlayStation.
Oh shit, another Bethesda game that's an exclusive.
Yeah, in the advert, it says that it's coming to other consoles on the 25th of March, 2023.
They're probably stipulation. Like, yo, listen, you put that shit on there, Like I said, man, just real quick on Ghostwire, I lost all interest in that game as soon as Nakamura left. I'm like, I don't care anymore, And I saw the gameplay trailer. I'm like, it looks like Japanese, like Dishonored. I'm like, I'm good. Because at least it would have been fun to have Nakamura, advertise it, Dikine, like I would have been cool. But without her, I'm like, what's the point of this game,
Yeah, and it makes sense why she's not there anymore. She's like, she created the art of the thing, and I mean, that art's been done for years. So
yeah, exactly. It's like she did her thing, so she moved on, So yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo.
She has her own studio.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, Spooky Productions. I don't know what it's called.
It's spooky.
Spooky.
Oh man. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not interested. I don't care. Anyway, we'll see you on Sunday. Peace out, people.
Deuces.
Ladies.